Are you tired of giving the same old boring answers during job interviews? Storytelling is critical to standing out and making a powerful first impression. Hi, I'm Shane. As a corporate strategist with experience in multiple roles and industries across 7 companies and 3 continents, I know firsthand the importance of having a strong narrative in job interviews. In this video, I'll show you how to use mind maps to craft a compelling professional story that highlights your strengths, accomplishments, and growth. When an interviewer asks you to walk me through your CV, what they're actually saying is, don't just talk me through your bullet points. I already got that in front of me. And I've literally seen thousands of them. Instead, tell me your story. The highlights, your strengths, the challenges you faced, and lessons learned. I want to know how you became the person who's sitting in front of me and what makes you special. In the process, I'll be able to determine your mindsets, your values, and why you would be a good fit for my team. Storytelling is the most ancient and effective way to convey this. The purpose of this transitions mind map is to identify your personal hero's journey, because there's no such thing as a perfect career path. It's precisely the twists and turns that make your story compelling and unique. When were those times you were forced to hustle and adapt? What did you learn from your victories? And how did you pick yourself back up after your failures? The best way to identify these plot twists is by mapping out your transitions. This is a template that we're going to be using. And in the center is going to be a transitions map. So it could be Shane's transitions map, Bruce's transition map, what have you. And all the major nodes here are going to be the companies or the roles that you have been involved with. So in my instance, it's going to be multiple companies, right? Because I've switched companies so much every 2 to 3 years. But for you, if you're in the same company, let's say for 10 years, and you've swapped different teams or roles within 2 to 3 years, this is basically where you're going to be putting the name of that role over here. And then from there, you would expand on the different events or milestones that have happened to you during that role, as well as the different challenges that you faced and the lessons learned. And what you'll notice here is that once you're able to actually expand all the different details of that particular role or company you were part of, then it's about detecting the patterns, the themes, the attributes, and strengths that came out of it. I like to use a red pen for annotations because that is the meta layer of a mind map, otherwise known as the insights. What I want to pay special attention to, though, are the arrows, because the arrows are all about that transition stages, right, between each company or different roles. And what you want to know here is the nature of the transition. Was it intentional? Was it forced? Was it by accident? Because the nature of the transition dictates how we react and came into the next role. All this is going to make a lot more sense when we go through my example. So this is my 13 years in tech, and I've been through a ton of different companies. So I graduated from UC Berkeley with double majors in business administration and legal studies, and I went straight into consulting, right, with Deloitte. And then I went through my first startup with a solar company, and then I got laid off for 8 months, unemployment, before finding my dream job at Google as part of their product strategy team. And I actually started in local incubation, which is their internal incubator for local products, where we launched Google, the precursor to Google Wallet, for example, as well as their POS system. The next team that I went into was actually Niantic Labs, the guys who made Pokemon Go. So I was employee number 30 there. But before I got too comfortable in the Silicon Valley, I decided to apply to business school, got into London Business School, and then took a one-way ticket across the Atlantic Ocean to get my MBA, where I basically got really plugged into the startup ecosystem. I ran a ton of different conferences. I joined a VC, Boulderton Capital, and then became a head of product for one of the consumer startups there. Before taking another 8-month sabbatical, making a choice between basically either staying in London or coming back to the US, which I eventually did, and joined a company called Sturfy, a 14-person augmented reality AI startup that sent me essentially to Asia all the time, China, Japan, and Korea to close deals. And my latest iteration of transition is becoming a YouTube creator as of 2020 when the pandemic first started. right? So this is basically my entire 13-year journey in a nutshell. If you're enjoying this video or finding it helpful, please give me a like or subscribe because it helps me out a lot. All right, let's get back into it. Expand out all of the different elements they did, the different tasks or highlights and stuff. And this mind map is going to seem super overwhelming, but like all things, we will go through one at a time and you'll get a sense of exactly what this entails. So what I expanded on with Deloitte, my first role was actually I joined during the financial crisis. This was when everybody was freaking out. A lot of people couldn't even get jobs. Through that, I actually learned to deal with uncertainty, right? As well as shifting expectations. Before I wanted to join, let's say, Bain, McKinsey, or BCG, but then because of the lack of roles, I basically got Deloitte instead. So shifting expectations. And then there is a year into my job there, I decided that consulting wasn't really for me. I actually crave working as part of a team rather than just being an advisor to a team. So that was important learning, right? So I didn't really put down exactly what I did at this point, also because it's so early on in my career and there's so many other things to talk about, but I put down the lessons instead, right? So what made me then transition over to my very first startup was the desire for a team. Pay attention to that red arrow. And then from here, what I noted is that, okay, what did I learn from my first startup? Well, that was my first time going into such a fast-paced environment with all the hustles where decisions needed to be made on the fly all the time, as well as a flat organization. So in a consulting firm or a corporate, Fortune 500 corporate, you get like tons of different layers between president, VP, and all the way to the little peons, right? But with a startup, I'm reporting to like the SVP of sales, who then I'm also working alongside the CEO on some special projects. It also got me introduced to the concept of venture capital because I was preparing a lot of these decks essentially, or presentations for our investors, who includes Coastal Ventures, one of the best VCs here in the Silicon Valley, and then the dynamics of departments. When you're in a big company, you don't really get a sense of like how, let's say, finance works with strategy, works with sales, works with product and engineering. Whereas in a startup, let's say 30 people, right? That's actually how big my startup was. You really see how your work actually affects that of other teams right away on a daily basis. So I thought that was super cool. And then from this, and I started this because this is monumental part of my professional story, is that I learned to be agile as well as resourceful, because you had to be since the change was so vast on a daily basis. This was also my first sales exposure. So I joined actually as a sales analyst, as I listed here. So part of it was actually like banging the phones in addition to analysis and running models, like literally calling people up and go, hey, can we install like these $500,000 solar modules on top of your office, right? So banging the phones. This was also when I learned that the push style of, let's say, like, sales, trying to push this product to other people, definitely really was not for me. Instead, I learned that pull type of tactics, which is, let's say, content marketing or setting up events for people to come to me instead of the other way around, works out a lot better. So again, learnings, right? And then within 5 months of being at this startup, I got laid off. This was kind of crazy because, as your second job out of college with barely any experience, I was super naive. I didn't expect to be laid off so quickly, right? All the writing was on the board. And what that really taught me was due diligence because, before I got laid off, everybody was already leaving. The CMO left, the CFO left, the COO left. We had interim people all the time. And at the same time, the solar market was tanking back in 2012. So all of these indicators should have told me that, hey, I should be very cautious and maybe start looking for other opportunities. But because of that naivety, I stayed. So getting laid off from this experience actually taught me, okay, in the future, I have to do my due diligence around the team, the investors and product, but most importantly, the market. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but it actually was my first introduction in a hard way to systems thinking, or thinking of not just my role in company as individual parts, but actually as a whole, that I am just part of a larger company, which then is part of a larger market. So if the market is, happening something there, it's going to affect my company, which is going to affect me, right? So anyways, that is a key learning there, which then became an 8 months unemployment. Basically, I started a company with a college friend. I joined a biogas company as their project manager and set up Salesforce. And I also applied to over 80 jobs. Again, this was kind of like the aftermath of one of the worst recessions in recent memory, so it was definitely difficult to get back on my feet. And all of this basically taught me new skill sets where I learned product design, how to create a pitch deck, as well as working with engineers with my startup, and as well as a mindset of a founder, designer, project manager. And then with applying to 80 jobs, as well as setting up Salesforce with that can-do attitude. All of this then taught me that important lesson of resilience, of getting back on my feet once I have fallen. Because think about it, getting fired or getting laid off is pretty much the worst that can happen to you from a professional standpoint. And at the time, I even had a mortgage because I just bought a new house. So not only was I unemployed, I was also in debt. In a lot of ways, that taught me that, hey, I can actually take the worst that the professional world can give me, which then allowed me to take a lot more risks in so many other areas and be much more open to change. Getting that so early in my career was actually a blessing in disguise, which after 80 jobs applied, I eventually got into my dream position at Google as part of their product strategy team and local incubation. So not to get into all the other details, because I can go on for a long time here, but I just want to pay attention to all the different annotations of how you can actually tell your story. Again, in just 1, 2, 3, 4 type of examples, I have already given you what I learned from each of these different components, right? Each of these different experiences, how they have shaped me to be agile, resourceful, a systems thinker, and resilient. And not only that, once you map this out, you're going to get a very good sense of a person's journey. All the different twists and turns of my professional story. So I will be very ready when somebody asks, hey, walk me through your CV. Well, I'm not going to walk you through my CV. I'm actually going to walk you through all these different learnings that I've had from each of these positions and how they have contributed to me, who is sitting in front of the interviewer today. And all these different qualities, let's say resilience and resourcefulness, are cross-applicable to pretty much any job out there. The awesome thing about this map is that you can either tell your story in its entirety or just its parts. So let's say your interviewer asks you, hey, tell me about a time that you experienced a hardship that you had to overcome. Well, then I can talk about my startup experience right here, right? And how I went through 8 months unemployment, and this is basically what I learned. Or if they ask me, when was the last time I had to think strategically? Well, then I can zoom into my surfing experience where as a business developer, I was traveling to Asia and closing all these different deals, which then was applying essentially, I had to be very aware of what the market conditions were, what are the different incentives of my customers, as well as where we sit in their value chain. These are all different packages of small snippets of the story from the overall journey that I can take out to make compelling answers for these different questions that the interviewer might ask. So by mapping out my entire journey, it really reminds me of the key insights and key learnings, as well as how I can tell that story. And that is how you map out your entire professional journey. If you found this video helpful, you might be interested in my other tutorial videos. If you're ready to take your mind mapping to the next level, be sure to sign up for my newsletter Epiphany, or better yet, check out Mind Map Nation and take our 7-day mind mapping mastery course. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.